Hi, hello, shalom, my name is Haley Beckel, and I had laryngitis for a week. Now this is something that made me realize how hard it is not to talk. I mean, I kept getting phone calls, and what was I supposed to do, just stay silent on the other end of the line? That's creepy. Anyway, today we're gonna be talking about Henrietta Lacks, a woman that you may or may not have heard of that had some very special cells. You could call her the Immortal Lady, but we're gonna get into that. So let's get started. So Henrietta Lacks, also known as her birth name Loretta Pleasant, was born August 1st, 1920 in Roanoke, Virginia. Her mother was named Eliza Pleasant and her father was named John Randall Pleasant. His friends called him Johnny. Now Henrietta was one of 10 children, and her mom actually died giving birth to the 10th child. Henrietta was 4 years old at the time. So her mom dies and her dad can't care for all 10 of the children, so he has to distribute them among his relatives. And Henrietta ends up with her grandfather Tommy. They lived in a 2-story log cabin that was previously slave quarters on the plantation. The land was owned by Henrietta's great uncle and her grandfather, who both happened to be white. She also stayed with her 9-year-old cousin, Day Lacks. She ended up marrying her cousin, so he became her husband. Anyway, so Henrietta grows up on this farm working as a tobacco farmer with the rest of her family. At 14 years old, she has her first son with Day, and they name him Lawrence Lacks. 4 years later, she gives birth to a daughter named Elsie. I broke the yoke. Elsie unfortunately was disabled. She had epilepsy and neural syphilis. She was later diagnosed with idiocy and committed to a hospital for the insane. There she was abused and subjected to experimentation. So back to Henrietta. Her and her husband get married and move to Maryland. They leave behind their jobs as tobacco farmers, and Day begins working at Bethlehem Steel. A cousin of theirs, Fred Garrett, actually recommended that they make the move, and he was deployed to fight in World War II, so he ended up giving them his savings. Day uses those savings to buy a home at Turner Station, which was one of the largest African American communities in Baltimore at the time. With a new job and a new home, the couple have 3 more children, Sonny, Deborah, and Joseph. 4.5 months after giving birth to Joseph, Henrietta goes to Johns Hopkins Hospital complaining of a knot in her womb. This wasn't the first time she complained about it. Her cousins had told her previously that it simply meant that she was pregnant, and they were right that time. However, this time, she wasn't. She had a severe hemorrhage. Her doctor found a mass on her cervix and diagnosed her with a malignant adenocarcinoma. Henrietta was treated with radium tube inserts and was discharged a few days later. 2 samples of her cervix were taken without her permission. One was cancerous and one was healthy. What they found next was extraordinary. Other patients with cervical cancer cells would die quickly under the microscope, but Henrietta's would multiply every 20 to 24 hours. They were essentially immortal. Named after the non-consenting donor herself, the HeLa cells have been used to study the effects of drugs, toxins, hormones, and viruses on cancer cells. And most importantly, by not testing on humans. The HeLa cells played a critical role in developing the polio vaccine, and they're still studied today. In August of 1951, Henrietta returned to the hospital complaining of severe abdominal pain. She just went in to get her normal, regular, scheduled cancer treatment. She received blood transfusions and remained in the hospital until her death, nearly 2 months after being admitted, which was on October 4th, 1951. According to a partial autopsy, the cancer had spread throughout her entire body. Even after her death, nobody in Henrietta's family knew of her cells. In 1975, the family learned of Henrietta's cells during a dinner party conversation. They had been receiving calls repeatedly asking for blood samples from the hospital, but were completely unaware of the situation. The hospital wanted to study the family's genetics and see if anybody else's cells were like Henrietta's. In 1996, the Moore School of Medicine finally gave recognition to Henrietta Lacks at their first annual HeLa Women's Health Conference. In 2020, she was inducted into the National Women's Hall of Fame, and Oprah even made a documentary about her. And that is the story of Henrietta Lacks. I am glad that she finally got recognition for her unconsenting donation. I mean, that's pretty messed up, but it did give some good contributions to science. Here we have some old-fashioned rice pudding. It looks very dry. I am very concerned. This does not look like how rice pudding should. I mean, it's dry. Will it taste dry? Probably. Will it taste like rice pudding? I don't think so, but it's old-fashioned rice pudding done in the oven. I know sometimes you can do it that way, but I don't think it'll be very good. But cheers. No, that just tastes like rice with like a little wet. Just like a little wet. Like it's not like a pudding, it's just a little wet. It's not bad, but it's definitely not rice pudding. Yeah, I would not recommend this. It's pretty much like you just boiled rice and then maybe you put a little tiny bit of milk in there and then you sprinkled some cinnamon on top or sugar on top or something. It's definitely not great. But that is it for now. If you enjoyed this, please let me know. If you did not enjoy this, please let me know. If you have any other food related video suggestions that you want me to do, please let me know. I'm going to consider finishing this now. Bye-bye.